scares you when someone says, I want to go home and think about it?
When a customer says, I want to go home and think about it, especially if you've gone through the sales process with the customer and you feel that you should have a sale,
Correct.
and Mr. and Mrs. Jones look at you and say, I really want to go home and think about it, I think the first question you should ask them is, what other vehicles are you considering? And by asking that question, you saying, that's the only reason you wouldn't buy a car from me is because you're considering another vehicle. Now let's say that they are considering another vehicle. At least you now have an opportunity to make comparisons while they're still sitting in your showroom to the other vehicle that they're most interested in or somewhat interested in. For example, what other vehicles are you considering? Well, I'm considering, I'm looking at a Cadillac here, I'm considering the Suburban. All right, well, that's a great choice. It's made by GMAC, and then you can go into some type of comparison. If they say I'm not comparing it with anything, then I think the follow-up question to that, Joanna, would be, then what's preventing you from moving forward? And like your semantics and the way you ask that question, because after all, you have earned the right to ask, So if you're not considering other vehicles, what's preventing you from moving forward? And I'll give you another tip, Joanna. This customer may say to you, I have to go home and talk to my wife. Okay? You get that a lot, right? And I think the next question you should ask that customer is, what's your wife's name? Instead of saying, what would your wife say? Because now you've made it more personable. For example, you want to play it out for a minute? All right, go ahead. Ask me, Joanna, I have to go home and talk to my wife. And ask me what my wife's name is.
What's your wife's name?
My wife's name is Gina. And then ask me, what do you think Gina would say?
What do you think Gina would say?
You just made it more personable now. Because now you're not talking about my wife, you're talking about Gina. All right?
Brilliant.
Isn't that cool?
Brilliant.
I think Gina would say, buy that car from Joanna.
Exactly.
All right. Until next time, go get them.